This one's called More Good News. I've been away on holiday, and whilst I was away, I met a couple of people who also declined the medical experiment. And I think the point that I'm trying to make here is that I believe that there's a lot more of us who refuse the experiment than we've been led to believe. So I'll just tell you a little bit about these people, because I don't know about you, I'm very curious about people like us who refuse the experiment, because I suspect that we've got some things in common. We must have some things in common. So the first guy who rejected it was a Finnish bloke, about my age, and entrepreneur basically. And yeah, same sort of story in the sense that he knew that it was just obvious, something that's been developed in less than a year, where normally things of this type take about a decade. So yeah, also quite a proper bloke, I would say. This guy is. I got on very well with him, and he was quite outspoken, quite an outspoken type of guy. And in terms of like wearing your underpants on your face, I'm still not quite sure whether we could actually talk, or maybe the slave muzzle or whatever. People who he said to his customers, don't bother coming to my business if you're going to wear a slave muzzle. You wear your underpants on your face. That's a condition of entry, that you don't do that. So I thought that was pretty cool, really. That's so he also said that he'd lost money as a result of him choosing not to comply with the biomedical fascism. Second person came across was a guy who was only 20 years of age, a Greek guy, and just got chatting to him. He was asking us, because again, I think that because I'm English and my wife's Finnish, people often ask, where you're from, and why I came to live in Finland. So that gives me an opportunity to sort of tell my story, and then things normally move from there. So this guy basically, he also refused the experiment in Greece, where we were. He explained about the biomedical fascism. They had the full Nazi passport there. So he got tested in order to keep his job. He also said that he got sick of doing that. So in the end, he got fined for continuing to work without being a participant in the medical experiment or getting tested. And he never paid the fine, and no one's chased up after him. So I thought that was quite interesting. He then said that most of the people that he knew that something was dodgy back in 2020, when the medical experiment was first talked about. But he said that quite a few people caved to the pressure, that they took part in the medical experiment not because they were afraid of, the Chinese cough and sniffle, but because they were afraid of losing their job, because of the Nazi passport and stuff like that. But he said to me that all of those people now regret complying. He then also talked about how he mentioned his dad, that there were some people who went along with it willingly because they were so afraid. And this guy, his dad, even went to the lengths of booking his own son in for an appointment, for the medical experiment. And this guy, very, very impressive bloke, 20 years of age, so mature. He basically said to his dad, look, if you want me to move out, I'll move out. I'll do that rather than take part in the medical experiment. So, that much respect to him, that he showed that much toughness. So I think, and he also said that when I asked him, what do you think's different about between us and them, he kind of like went like that. So intelligence, I guess, and it was just so obvious. And we talked about the logical inconsistencies of it all, that the medical experiment was designed to give you protection against this thing that was supposedly deadly. Ooh, be afraid. But then the if it was if it worked, then why would people who didn't have it be a threat to you? Why would they have to have the same thing that didn't work to protect you from them? Anyway, so we both kind of agreed that this was kind of bonkers, and I remember back to those times, I just thought, well, this is just such a logical inconsistency. They won't be able to basically say to the people that didn't want to take part that you have to take part to protect those that are taking part. That you've got to have the same thing to protect the people that have had. Anyway, it's absolutely bonkers. I also asked him whether he knew people who'd been badly affected by the medical experiment, and he said, yeah, pretty sad about it. One of his friends, also in his early 20s, is basically just Donald Duck, can't walk without getting out of breath. And this guy also accepts the fact that it was down to the medical experiment. So I thought that was quite interesting. So those people that got coerced, that took the medical experiment, there are some of them that accept that they've been done over by it. His dad also, as well, admitted to his son that he was wrong and his son was right to refuse the medical experiment. So I thought that was also good, and I said that to him too, that you should respect your dad, because it takes a big man to admit that they're wrong. So there's still people that I know who really, come on guys, Max and Ian, you need to just basically just say that you were wrong, really, and then everyone gets things wrong. What distinguishes us between is whether you just continue to double down on your errors or not. And anyway, what else he said? He also mentioned about how he knew contacts in, let's call it, I'll use some spaces in between words because I think this helps with the algorithm. So if I say, or do it backwards, facilities, care, health, yeah? Anyway. So he basically said that there were, people who didn't have a very good aim, when it came to the medical experiment. They were it was like shooting off over there rather than going into here. So this was, again, indicating to me that a lot of these people that work in these facilities, care, health, they know exactly what they did. They know exactly what they did. And they were quite happy to, let's call it, do other people, our friends, members of our family, but they basically cheated, and in Greece, to get the Nazi passport, they just, I thought that might, give it to their lunchtime apple or something, but he just said that they were squirting it over their shoulder, which is, so he also was he knew all about the World Economic Forum. I said to him, how many of your mates are like you? He says, oh, quite a few. And I think that's also something interesting in that, Greece went through a financial crisis in 2008. So I think Greece is probably ahead of places like Britain and Finland in the sense that there was always less trust in government to begin with. There was always kind of more people who were less inclined to go, oh, but why would they do that? Well, because, if you lived in a place with a dodgy government, you know that politicians aren't to be trusted, that they'll pursue their own goals or the goals that they've been told to pursue by the people that put them into power. So yeah, he knew all about Bitcoin, as I say, the Great Reset, Klaus Schwab, all of that. He was well up on all of that, and I think the thing that we kind of agreed on was that he said that there would be a few people who were kind of so scared that they would fall for the same trick again. But I think my personal point of view is that you know, they've tried it, haven't they, with Money Box and you know, all the other ones, Avian, you know, all that rubbish. You know, I don't know. I can't remember now how much the Finnish government spent on all of those quack scenes. You know, but who cares? It's only taxpayers' money. So yeah, that's all I want to say really about these two people. Both very very impressive people, but very different ages. And I think we've been encouraged to believe that there's a lot fewer of us, you know, people that saw through it, people that are intelligent, people that are brave too, because I think that's the other thing is just the bravery. Are you, you know, those of us that rejected the medical experiment, the thing that we got in common is that we we're brave people. We didn't cave in when we were tested. We didn't cave in, and indeed, that's the thing that I said to both of these guys is that, you know, what happened was the greatest test of humanity in human history, and like we passed it. We passed that test. It's like, you know, we should never underestimate like what we did and how different we are really from them. And that's not like me gloating or anything like that. It's just a fact, isn't it? That what we did was. And the other thing I was out saying to my wife, sorry, I'm rambling a little bit here, is that we really are different. We are different from them, completely different from them. And you don't, you know, in the past, I might have had to have spoken to somebody for maybe half an hour and ask them about all sorts of things to get a handle on what type of person that they are. Whereas today, you know, you only need to ask them one question, like, did you take part in a medical experiment, or did you not? And whatever they answer, you kind of, you know what type of person they are. You know, can you trust them? Are they a person who's got integrity? Are they honest? Will they stand up for what's right when push comes to shove? Are they bribable? Like, you know, so many answers, so many questions rather can be answered by just asking that one question of, did you take part in a medical experiment? It really is this sifting, you know, between the wheat and the weeds, the tars, as it says in the book. So yeah, I'll do some more interesting cultural observations that I thought about when I was in Greece. Quite interesting one. So I'm going to whack that in another video. And I took some street video as well. So I'll just do a voiceover for that. But that's all I want to say today. So God bless.